So our conversation started with some initial things we saw where your ROI on the platform was quite significant. Do you happen to remember what that number was, ballpark, what percentage ROI?
Yeah, so I got 100% ROI or 4 times the ROI?
Four times, yeah.
4 times, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I responded to a Facebook post that somebody in, I don't know, some community was saying that they didn't like Ylopo, they were thinking about quitting, and I just responded like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this has been my success with it, so this is what I've done. Reach out to me if you feel like you want to chat.
Yeah, and I reached out.
Yeah. Right, because that's natural, right? The next thing is that we're like, okay, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's so weird.
Well, it's not necessarily weird, it's just when you have a lot of reasons, being all by yourself, not having a full staff, lots of salespeople and ISAs, you have a lot of reasons that you could say, hey, this isn't working for me. I'm not able to convert these online leads.
Right.
But that has not been your case. And to your point, a 400% return on investment is quite fantastic. So what we're going to do now, right, is go deep into what Tiana did last year in her individual business, her processes, her approach, and how she was able to take the leads that you and I are buying for our respective businesses and make some money.
And it kind of starts with her journey
Yeah.
through Ylopo, so like what she has done over the last few years. So do we want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just a regular schmegular real estate agent in my market. And I am a COVID baby where I started in 2021 as an agent. So if you want to go to the next slide. So at the end of 2022, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do online leads. I was circle prospecting at the time, but I knew I wanted some buyers along with the sellers. And in 2023, I had a lender sign up with me, and so we were sort of splitting that cost. And as you know, in 2023, the market just changed and pivoted, and that lender was no longer able to work with me. So I kind of panicked, and I was like, oh my God, that's so much money. Like, how am I going to do this by myself? I'm still a newer agent. So I did end up spending $12,000 in 2023. On my own, and I only closed one deal. So I was in the negative, and I panicked and I turned off the ad spend. I was like, I'll just keep all the back end stuff and I'll turn off the ad spend. And then I'm in real estate coaching. My coach at the time was like, why did you turn that off? That makes no sense. Like, how are you gonna get leads? If you don't have any deals, how are you gonna get leads? And then how are you gonna pay for this? So turn it back on.
It's like a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. How many of you guys have been there where you have a lender that you were splitting with and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can't do this anymore, and you're like, Ma.
Sucks.
Yeah.
So then when I turned it back on, I said, okay, if I'm gonna spend this money, I gotta go all in. Like, I gotta focus on this.
All right, so let's pause for a second. I think a lot of us have had these types of hiccups in our business where revenue suddenly stops. And I think it's a metaphorical fork in the road for all of us in life, whether personally or professionally. And what you just heard her casually say was, I decided to re-up my marketing budget to buy leads. And as I committed to that, I decided I was going to be effectively to go all in. So as she describes what all in meant for her, which I want you to do, that's a nugget for some of you. Some of you, this needs to be a catalyst in your life. Some of you are, allowing the circumstances to make you a victim instead of choosing to be a victor, as Tiana just described. So Tiana, walk us through that moment. So you decided to go all in, and before we get to the next screen, the 2024, you sold 9 homes, $100,000 in gross commission, and you spent $24,000. This year, you've already got 3 closed, 5 pending, and 5 nurtures for Q2. Fantastic. So take us through. Okay, you decided to go all in. What does that look like?
So I had to change my mindset around calling. The phone is very heavy. We all know that. But in order to feel like I could call people, I had to role play. So I still role play to this day because role playing is so important. And role playing not to like convince anybody or to like manipulate anybody into doing anything. It's more like knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, and tonality. I know a few people have already talked about tonality and how important that is. I tend to get high-pitched because I get excited easy, and so I've really had to learn how to slow my words, talk deep, and now people will say like, oh, you're so calming to be around. I'm like, oh my God, like nobody in my real life would tell me that, yeah.
So you're honing your skill set.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's great.
So you block calls. Talk to us. So this is so you decided to practice with role playing.
Yep.
You also blocked a call time. Walk us through that.
So every day, 9 to 10, which now with Colton yesterday, I have to do 5 to 7. But 9 to 10
Wait,
every
are you going to change to 5 to 7?
I'm going to do it twice a week, yes.
So twice a week, 5 to 7, and then the other 3 days a week.
I'll do 9 to 10.
Okay, so see, somebody that we're asking to speak on what she's done was with you guys yesterday, and she's immediately instituting a new process in her business based off of what she learned, right? There's a habit, there's a pattern here. Sorry, keep going.
No, it's no problem. So I do the 9 to 10, and a lot of people will say until you hit a certain number or whatever. For me, I just do 9 to 10 because I know I can do it, and it's consistent, and I just keep it at 9 to 10. So when 10:01 comes around, I hang up the phone and I move on to something more fun.
Sure, absolutely. All right. And relationship approach, I guess you're not trying to close them on a deal?
Yeah, I don't do the commission breath thing. I'm not a hard salesperson. So I know we have lots of great scripting. It's great for some people. It's not great for others. And
I feel like
I'm not a hard.
I feel like Barry wrote a book about that.
This one time. Yeah, this one time I did.
I still have to read it.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. All right, so, and I know you've got some slides to follow
Yes.
the deep dive on this, so I want to stay on the calling mindset, but just quickly, if you want to speak to, so your catalyst was your mindset and your calling patterns changed. You changed how you do your lead tracking, and you made sure, what about your tech stack?
That I had the right tech stack
Okay,
to
got it,
help me.
got it.
And keep it all simple.
So, role play.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit already with the role play and just it helped my conversion immensely. Like when I was first starting with Ylopo, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, hey, I'm calling you. And everybody would hang up because I had very high pitched tone and I wasn't saying the right things. That I sounded like a telemarketer, basically. And then the 1 hour a day, everyone says time blocking. Time blocking in my mind, for some reason, just doesn't work for me. So I just go with it's 1 hour a day. That's all I need to do. And it helps me get through it mentally. And then there's just the relationship approach. Again, talking to everybody like they're my friend. How are you? What's going on?
Okay.
Are you buying? I see this, blah, blah, blah.
All right. So you also, in this I'm going all in, you also decided to leverage your smart list, which happens to be Tiffany's love language.
Well, and I was going to say, like, I think this is a really important thing, too, because if you're limiting yourself to 1 hour a day of that time to follow up and to talk to the people, then you have to prioritize those people. And that's where Smart List comes in. So, yeah, tell us about that.
So I used a company to help me create the smart list. And then, like somebody said earlier about their love language of their leads, I am the same way where it's like, are they talking to me or are they not? And I focus on the people that talk to me. Like we end up spending so much time calling leads over and over and over that aren't talking and just not giving enough attention to people that are, even if it's just through text messages. So I focus on people that are talking to me. Those are the people with the money. Those are the people who want to buy now. So I just focus my attention there. If they went from talking to me all the time to stop talking to me, I might move them from hot to warm. So depending on where they are, they move around those lists.
Okay, awesome. So visual lead tracking, I don't know, I guess I'm going to try to click through the video now. So
Hey, don't click
yeah, I'm
yet.
like,
Don't
Okay,
click yet. I want to set this up a little bit for you, and then I want
Okay.
you to dig into it a little bit more. So this is just an example of how you have tools in your toolbox, and you can use those tools in different ways to accomplish your goals. So I definitely want Tiana to jump into this, but I want you to start thinking about, what tools you have and how can you use them to benefit you. Go ahead.
Yes, so I am a visual person. So while the smart lists are great, I'm still very visual. So anybody that I talk to, I put in nurture. And I go to the deals tab all the time, and I will move the people around. So in the nurture tab, I'm like, okay, did I talk to this person, this person, this person? When was the last time? Where did we leave off? And then as they move, I want to move them down the funnel. I want to move them down the path and get them to the close tab, right? So that has been the biggest success for me in just making sure I'm talking to the people that have spoken to me. If they have spoken to me at all, they go into the nurture, and then I move them around.
So I want you guys to grasp that a little bit further. So she is using the deal board for her hot prospects. She's using the deal board when they get to a certain point. She's putting them there and then moving them through the process because that's a visual thing for her and that helps her to work better. A deal board doesn't have to just be for things that are currently under contract. You can also customize all of those titles. So I just wanted to point that out. Like, use the tools in your toolbox, but you can adapt them to function in a way that's going to work best for you.
Well, and so let's kind of, I don't want to skip over this. So the goal of this is not for you guys to use your deals section necessarily to organize your leads, right? Because we've emphasized smart lists so much the last 2 days. What we're saying is this was something Tiana decided to do because she decided, visually speaking, I'm able to basically organize these prospects more effectively by organizing this way. So walk me through. You've got nurture, Q3 nurture, QT lead, active searching, buyer contracts. Like, I don't need an exhaustive summary, but if you could kind of take us through, how are you triaging these relationships? Like, what's going through your mind? You use the phrase, they're actually talking to me. So how do they go from nurture to Q2, Q3 lead?
Right. So, and this is everybody, including Ylopo leads. So these are like this is my whole database,
yeah.
right? So anybody that says like, oh, hey, I'm going to buy in October, they're going to go into, or I guess September, they're going to go into Q3 nurture. And I know I'm not going to be talking to them as much right now, but I may send them a text like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Just to make sure I don't miss a moment where they're like, oh, we went from October to July. So it just depends. So nurture is making everyone in that list, I make sure every week that I talk to them in some way.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, and
in
what's an
some way.
example of how you talk to them?
Whether it's text, whether it's calling, because they may end up in a smart list.
Well, content-wise, like what are you saying to somebody that's in your nurture?
So, for example, I have one guy who is very analytical. So every time the monthly reports come out for the city that he's looking in, hey, so-and-so, here's the monthly reports. I know they're important to you. I noticed XYZ thing for condos.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions, or do you want to get started with whatever it might be?
Sure.
wherever he is.
I love that you're adapting based on the personality. This person is very analytical, so they're going to appreciate this content piece.
What would you say to the agent in the audience that says like, well, I don't know exactly what the people in my database want right now. Like they're not aware like you are. Like, how do you do that? Is it you just ask really good questions?
I think that goes back to role playing and knowing what kind of questions to ask to get to the right answers that you need in the qualifying call. Because a lot of times these new leads, they're just researching. Like, okay, yeah, I understand. And so a lot of the role play scripts or questions will talk about how to read between the lines and understand what they're saying. And then from what they're saying, it's like picking up, well, I noticed, I don't know, these trends in the city or whatever, and kind of pick up.
Well, it's interesting. The last session before lunch, Nikki was calling live on stage. And if I'm being honest, like 20 seconds in, I immediately wrote the lead off. And I was like, okay, well, they're going to skip to the next one, And then she just kept going, right? And that's kind of what you're saying. You also mentioned you send out an email. It's a deal.
Deals of the week, yes.
So talk to us about that.
So every week I do a deal of the week. So I do have an assistant now who helps me, but she will find a deal in our market, whether it's a flip, whether it's a hold, whether it's a good Airbnb, and she'll send out an email to the entire database who's tagged buyer, and she'll send them that opportunity. And sometimes people won't respond, and then sometimes people respond like, hey, this isn't right for me, but I'm looking for XYZ.
Now, that email, is it a link to the listing? Is it a photo?
The email has just a photo of the listing. It has the details of the listing, but it doesn't have the address or the link to it, because I want them to email me.
No address, no link. Do you have the price?
We have the price, yes.
You have the price. And do you put anything like you could resell it for more or not that
Yes.
far? Oh, you do?
Yes.
So you say you could get this for 100. Now, why did you decide to go with investment properties as your database hook?
I think that people are always looking in real estate for what a good deal is, because even if you're buying a home or you're looking for an investment property, you always want a deal. Most people want a deal. So I think that more people are apt to looking at that.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning of Tiana's talk, she was talking about how she focuses on the people that are responding to her. This is another way that she generates those responses, and to be able to distill down that list and focus on the people that want to hear from her and want to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, ideally, would you prefer to be an investment agent, or do you like have a preference on luxury, or do you take it all?
I take it all.
Yeah, yeah. But what you guys are seeing is a theme of like any activity from your database, these agents that have a 400% return are taking all these casual conversations and they're flipping it into business. Some of you are literally waiting for the consumer to call you and say, yes, I'd like to go see a house Saturday morning. And honestly, I hope that for all of you. But the reality is there's just not a lot of people that have exact clarity on what their needs are. You've got to climb the funnel. And what you watch Tiana do is very casually take us through her moment of going all in, deciding I got to pay for this now, right? Kudos to your coach for pushing you.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yep, this is your tech stack that you
That's my
referenced.
tech stack. Keep it super simple.
And your 5 key takeaways. Go ahead and take us through. Make sure we understand
Yeah,
them.
I just wanted to give everybody something to walk away with because when I go to conferences, I like to have, okay, well, like, what can I do from this now? So these are all the things that I have done. Role play, make the calls, 1 hour a day. Anybody can do it. I swear you can do it. Set up the smart list, whoever you use, whether you use Ylopo's, whether you use whoever's. The dialer, we didn't talk about the dialer, the
Go
FUB
ahead.
dialer.
Go ahead.
The FUB dialer changed the game for me, especially with the Ylopo leads, and I know that sounds silly, but it just makes everything so much easier when you just select a list, hit call, and then it's just calling for you.
Yeah.
I know it's an additional
I didn't tell her
charge.
to say that.
Is that your baby?
Oh my gosh, I say it all the time.
Oh, okay. I'm just like, why didn't I do this earlier? Why am I calling everybody one by one?
It's just like one less distraction.
See you, Tiana.
She's got a fan club right in the